Good morning. Welcome to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman Bergeron. It's 11:16 here in York, Maine, and it's snowing. It's our first snow of the season, and it's a blessing that I would love to send to all of the places in the world that are now inundated with fires. And I offer this morning's talk to all who have families and friends who are suffering now from those traumatic fires that have taken so much from so many, and ask that each of you hold them in your hearts as you go about your daily lives, remembering that we are all one. There is no separation. What happens to others happens to us. Thank you. So good morning, Rachel, Lisa, Renee, Karen. People are showing up. As you can see, I have a different backdrop. This is my sort of sanctuary. Well, not sort of, it is my sanctuary. And I'm here because the internet is a little bit iffy this morning, and I didn't want to mess with all of that. So we have to do what we do, and it's all perfect. And I'm actually liking this because I can see more. It's a bigger screen. It's not my silly laptop. So those are the blessings that we receive today. And I use, as you note in the corner up there, I wrote, it's a poem that I wrote a while back, but I was reminded of, and I posted it on Facebook last night after an incident and last night that occurred. And it was about forgiveness, and that's why this topic is here today. Forgiveness is forgivingness. And this has been something that I've been saying to people for a long time. I don't know if I've spoken about it before on Humanity Healing, but our concept of forgiveness is really incorrect. And because we look at forgiveness as somebody did something wrong and we need to erase that or make it all better. And as long as we continue to think in that terms, what we're doing is actually looking for things that are wrong in others. And we'll find them because we are all doing things wrong in accordance with what we would call the golden rule, and I'll speak about that later. So this is really, let me read that up at the top there. We want to forgive. We talk about it. We read about it. We give each other advice on it. We make it very difficult. Forgiveness is the way of the heart, not of the mind. It occurs quietly when we surrender to our hearts and quiet our minds. And that's the key strength to forgiveness, is to stop thinking about it and do it. And the only way we can do it is to give our way, our love, and express our love. And even if it's rejected, doesn't matter. It's about giving. The other point I want to bring up is that it's not about just giving to others, because we are here to be of service. And in that service, the service is one of giving. So we're honoring who we truly are as divine beings in giving. And we're actually enforcing the act of what we would term forgiveness in our human terms, which doesn't exist in angelic terms. There is no forgiveness there because nobody's screwing up. We're the ones who are screwing up. I don't like that term. It's a bit crass, but I'm going to throw it out there because this is what we do. And we do it very well. We do it very big. Nothing to be proud of, but it's time now for us to change that. And how do we do that? We have to give from our hearts. So I wrote another thing on my Facebook page that said, sweet forgiveness is the only way to get ourselves out of our heads and into our hearts. So let's all just drop into our hearts right now. Just drop in. Out of the head, drop into the heart. Take a deep inhale. Exhale from the lower part of your abdomen. And do it with gusto. Say, I am present. I am love. One more time. I am present. I am love. As we do that simple breathing exercise, what we're doing is exchanging ourselves with the world. That inhale, that exhale now goes out into the world. It's water, and it mixes with the rest of the water of the world. And so those words and those thoughts become an actual form that people will get. They might not be conscious aware, but we're adding to the collective consciousness with our breath and with our intentions and thoughts. This is what today's talk is really about. Okay? It's about giving. What are we giving? If we are for or pro giving, what are we giving? When I stopped to think about that, I realized that, wow, I give a lot of stuff that's not very nice. I don't mean it. It happens. And as it happens, it creates a field of resonance that others pick up on. And the more we can consciously remember to be aware of when we're doing that, and then seek to change that, we automatically change the field of resonance that we all exist in. Sounds crazy. We always say, well, what part do I have in all of this? It doesn't, my little part isn't going to make any difference. So if I cheat this person out of $5, hey, that's their problem. I didn't put the $5 there. They left it there. So I'll just, cheat them out of it. I'll take it. Simple things. But every time we do that, we add to this field of needing what we would call forgiveness. I pulled a sacred meditation card. I probably have it here this morning. Beautiful, beautiful galaxy. It's doesn't give me a name. It gives me a number, but that's okay. It has a name somewhere. And the message was really about service. How, and I said, well, what does that have to do with forgiveness? But if you're giving, you're in service. This is perhaps our service, is to just be giving. Doesn't take a whole lot to give, does it? Each of us have something we can give, I'm sure. I can't give a lot of money to people. I don't have a lot of money. But there's certainly something. I can give a smile. I can give a handshake. I can give a hug. Thank you for adventuring, Cindy. She says, I can see everybody on the side here. This is great. We are here to give of service. Drop into the heart. Do it with gusto. I am present. I am love. Thank you. This is where we really are in life. This process we call life is really one of service. Doesn't have to be spoken of in high spiritual terms. It's very simple to be here to recognize need and to be of service to work in that field. So this affirmation of service is this: I am an energetic worker and I am willing to serve. As I serve others, I serve my highest power. Okay, simple enough. The affirmation for it is, as I journey through each day with joyous intentions, I bring assistance and pleasure to others. I look for opportunities to serve, even if it is just a smile and a friendly gesture. I know that as I serve others, I serve my Creator. Well, even if you don't care about serving your Creator, you're serving the greater whole of humanity. You're serving yourself. You are actually forgiving yourself by random acts of kindness. Now, before I do these shows, I write a whole lot of show notes, and I never know what's going to come out of my mouth because I'm guided. But this process of sharing with others from our hearts is not as difficult as we think it is. We do it mostly with those we love and that are close in our families. But we also have members in our families we don't speak to, that we wouldn't cross the street if the car was coming to save them from getting hit. And yet, we talk about forgiveness. Well, what are we giving? If we can wall ourselves off emotionally to this place in our mind that can see suffering and can see pain and not be of service to alleviate it, that pain and suffering isn't out there. That pain and suffering is in here. It's in us. We are the ones who are the containers for that pain and suffering. And what happens invariably is that when we look out in the world, we see all of that and it reflects back to us. We become angry, we become frustrated, and it's easy to attack it out there. But we really should be attacking it in here. When I use the word attack, I don't mean it in a violent manner. Externally, we can become violent. Internally, we can become violent too, but I say attack it or address it in a more kindly manner by trying to be of service with ourselves. The love and the light we talk about sharing with the world needs to begin in here. We need to refocus the love and light rays in our own hearts and burn away all of that which is discordant with our divine principles of existence. However you choose to look at that. Mike says, a clear rejection is always better than a fake promise. Well, at least people know where you stand. However, when we practice rejection, who are we rejecting but ourselves? Everybody's a mirror for us. And these are important things that we need to remind ourselves of, is that forgiveness begins here. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. Just sitting in your own chair on this social media, it's a perfect perfect place to create places for forgiveness. And that brings me to what happened yesterday. I became in between two people who were, one had a thought, and I'm going to say was fairly innocent in what took place. The opportunity was there. They took advantage of the opportunity to do something, and it was because they felt the message that they wanted to get out was good. However, they didn't contact another person and ask any permission because they were able to do it without permission. So it's like leaving your door of your house open and somebody walking in and saying, well, there was nobody here. The door was open. I just thought I'd stop in. And now I've rearranged your furniture and I'm going to eat all your food. And then the other person went into immediate rage, and neither of these people would talk to each other. I was caught in the middle. And I looked and I watched all of this and I realized that's going on within me. Within my own presence, I have this dialogue of disrespecting myself, basically, because I can. I have the opportunity to do it. I have great opportunity to disrespect myself, and I do it. And become angry, and then become angry at myself. And what happens is then I have to come to this place of forgiveness. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm caught between these two forces that don't exist anywhere else except within my conscious mind. This is where forgiveness begins. This is where we focus it on. We take gum from our hearts. We start to bless. We start to understand both sides of the brain, the left half and the right half. However you want to divide it, masculine, feminine, up, down, in, out, doesn't matter. And realize that most of our problems in humanity all start here. Who's responsible for here? You are, I am. So when we go out and we think about the word forgiveness, it goes back to the old process of the golden rule. Because if we followed the golden rule, none of this would really be as severe as it is right now. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's an ancient, ancient, ancient message. And it wasn't meant to put anybody above anybody else, but for each of us to realize that you are me and I am you. That there is no real separation between us, except the separation we choose to create or is chosen for us by others from here. True separation is between the two halves of the brain. That's the only separation that really occurs. And yet still the brain is a whole. This is where forgiveness begins. Let's forgive the wrong thinking that we have. Let's forgive and be for giving that thinking new tools to work with, new thoughts to act on. Let's give ourselves a big hug or a big uplifting statement that says, rise, Charlie, rise, rise. There is only more life to live. But if you want to choose death, you don't need to physically die. Just keep thinking all of those negative thoughts. Keep practicing that selfishness. Keep practicing that greed. Keep thinking, what about me? What about my rights? Ah, rah, 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 rah. Wave your flags. No. Choose separation. It's your choice. I'm not trying to preach to you, although I do. I preach to myself more than you, so I have to live with me. I can't escape me. Refocus the love and light rays in our own hearts. Nice one. I feel as though I'm in knots. Probably are. We all are in knots. Many times. And we feel helpless. Sometimes we feel hopeless. This is where beginning to learn how to be forgiving us in favor of giving us a vacation, giving us a little time out, letting us, we, these beautiful beings we are, off the hook, and looking at saying, why am I making certain choices? And how can I make better choices? And how can I act those choices and present them to the world so that others make better choices? This isn't going to come from any great leadership. This isn't going to come from some extraterrestrial being that's going to come down here and hand us anything. This isn't going to come from some creator being that we've worshipped for thousands of years. This is going to come from within the gentle space of our hearts. So it's up to us, each one of us, to choose to see our own actions in the world and look in the mirror of the people that we confront us, whether they're personal or here on social media. Just like I do here, interface with each of you. I don't expect everyone to agree with me. I don't expect everyone to like what I have to say. And I respect when you disagree with me, because it gives me an opportunity to look and say, well, okay, is this really how I feel? Is this really who I am? And most of the times I come back and I learn something about myself, and I can be more forgiving of myself, and I can learn that, wow, maybe I should have said that a little differently, or maybe I should have offered that a little differently. I thought I was giving out ice cream and somebody took it as a plate of nails. Wow. I never thought that what I said or what I did could be taken like that. And then at that moment, I don't have to forgive others for what they felt. It's me that needs to be forgiven. I need to be given the opportunity to change my awareness. And this is what we're all doing right now, with all of the chaos, with all of the pain and suffering in the world. As I began, the fires that we're having around the world, the weather patterns. I mean, this East Coast here, we may experience flooding shortly if we keep getting as much rain as we're getting. All of it is perfect to teach us. They're teachers. It's a shame that this is the way we're going to learn a lot of this. But let's take the blame off and let's look at what are we going to do about it? How are we going to change our own lives from within our own conscious awareness and stand up, be seen, be heard, and bring forgiveness. The concept of what we have is forgiveness, not only to the world outside of us, but firstly to the world inside of us. We all want to be forgiven. And the truth is, we just need to stop, take a moment, drop into our hearts, and then express what comes up from our hearts. So we've got some more comments on the side for first for yourself, then extends to the world. Yeah, what we don't transform, we transmit. There's nothing to forgive when we know that hurtful and sometimes harmful behaviors are the result of non-transformation. That's a very good point. It's hard to forgive someone who took your loved one's life. Yes, that's even a deeper point. How do we do that? How do we come to that place? It's not going to happen immediately. But when we forgive ourselves, we open the door to transformation. And this is where I'm tying these two concepts together, is that transformation can only occur through awareness. And I'm not saying that it's going to go away completely for someone who has lost a loved one because of someone else. I can't imagine that pain. I can't imagine that suffering. Many of us have pain and suffering that I can't understand. But I can only share with you that when we learn to deepen our relationship with who we are as beautiful, divine beings of light and love and peace, transformation will occur. It's impossible for it not to happen because the laws of the universe, the laws of creation, support it. Otherwise, we would have been gone a long time ago. Something would have eaten us. Something would have occurred. We're creating the damage right now ourselves. We want to blame the weather. We want to blame this. We want to blame. We want to blame. We want to blame. Many of you have been through addiction programs will know the saying. When you point one finger, how many fingers do you have pointing back at you? So let's not point fingers, and let's just hold the hands. Take all of those fingers, put them over our hearts, and tell ourselves, I love you. You're not perfect in this moment. You got a lot of work to do, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm okay. You're okay. Let's do the best we can to forgive ourselves, to deepen that relation within our own hearts, to know the infinite wisdom that's available to us, the infinite love that's available to us, the infinite blessings that are awaiting us once we set aside all of this chaos and confusion within our own minds about, you did something to me, I've got to pay you back. the only person you're paying back is yourself. And if you want to endure that, then keep doing it. But I'm here to tell you that there's a better way. It's not going to happen overnight, but it is about forgiveness, but it's about being for or pro giving and giving to ourselves, giving ourselves the reprieve from all of that suffering and pain. We don't deserve it. And many of you have been hurt as children, even in past lifetimes, and carry that. Your families have been hurt. The genetic coding carries that pain and suffering. It's carried through the water in your system. It's carried through the water that you drink, that you eat. This is why continual blessing of yourself. 3 simple statements. Dr. Emoto did it with the water, changed the crystalline structure. 3 simple statements. And you always hear me saying them at the end of my show, which is coming right now, is I love you, I thank you, I respect you. Put that into practice within your own hearts, within your own minds. Turn the page around. And instead of attacking the other person or persons who are the mirror, let us begin to adopt a new thinking pattern, which allows us to feel and hear what is being said and look at it as the other person's pain and suffering being expressed. And we are just the object at which it's being directed. And it reminds us of how much pain and suffering we carry. And we all need to leave it behind. So with that, it's the end of my blog notes. With that, I offer you my peace, my light, and my love, which is yours. I can only offer you what you already are. For I am no greater than you. I am no less than you. Each of us are beautiful divine souls who need to be giving to ourselves a place of rest, a place of respite, away from all of the thoughts and behaviors that have either been done to us or someone else that we love, and come into peace and harmony within our hearts, to then step out and express that in the world in our daily walks. Doesn't have to be to everybody, but I want each of you to be seen. I want each of you to be heard. As it said in the Kuan Yin Oracle, be who you truly are. And with that, my friends, I'm complete. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. May the breath of life fill your hearts and souls. May you be lifted higher than ever before. Have a great week, dear beloved brothers and sisters, and Know that you are loved. Bye-bye.